Well, here it is, guys. It's the top of the line, most off-road worthy Toyota, the brand new Toyota TRD Pro in cement. And Toyota has taken it to 11 with bigger shocks, with more off-road worthiness. And to find out just how much more, well, let's take it off-road and let's take it for a ride with the chief engineer. And that is coming up right now in the Fast Lane Truck. Let's start with the easy stuff. What makes this the ultimate Tacoma?
Well, we've taken our off-road package and we've changed the suspension. And what that means is we've extended the track an inch in the front and the rear. We've put a 2-inch lift under it and an inch more travel. We've increased the front stabilizer bar to help with the steering from a 28 diameter to a 30 diameter. And we've introduced a brand new Fox shock package. So we've gone from a 1.5-inch Bilstein on the off-road package to a 2.5-inch Fox shock with a floating piston and progressive dampening in there. Now the progressive dampening allows us to change the dampening as you get into off-road situations. So you're going from a normal shock in how it performs and even our off-road shock to a shock that has 5 compression zones and 3 dampening zones up front and 7 compression zones and 4 dampening zones in the rear. We've changed the spring package, we've added rigid off-road lightings, we put a 1/4-inch skid plate on it. It's really taking our off-road package and adding that high-speed desert racing element to it.
So, you know, obviously this truck does not compete with the Raptor, but you brought it up, so I'm going to go there because that is, of course, the Desert Runner. So is this compatible, would you say, comparable to a Raptor in kind of that off-road situation?
Well, I can't say that we've ever ran the new Raptor against this and looked at what it can do. But what I can say is even our Tundra Pro, we've ran and won the stock class at Baja 1000 with that truck. So to me, it's race proven, and this just takes it to the next level.
Any upgrades to the engine?
The engine is the same as in our off-road package or other Tacomas. The transmission's the same. It does come with a manual transmission, a manual 6-speed, or you can get the 6-speed automatic. When you get the automatic, you get crawl control and multi-train select.
So how do you make a Toyota Tacoma more off-road worthy? Well, you make it taller, you give it a little bit of a wider stance, and you give it more wheel travel. And that is what separates the regular Taco from the Toyota Tacoma TRD Pro. So I was doing Cliffhanger, which is our toughest off-road course, in one of your products, and I got stuck and there was a storm moving in, right? And normally when a storm moves in the Rocky Mountains, you do not want to be on top of the mountain because you get hit by lightning. So I didn't want to risk it, so I was like, oh my god, I got to go back down this, and I couldn't go forward. So I said, I wonder if the crawl control works going backwards.
Absolutely.
And it worked. It was miraculous because, you know, going forward, right, you can kind of see the obstacles, but going backwards.
Well, if it didn't work in both, it's not worth very much because, as you know, being off-road, especially in the mountains, when you're starting to climb something, if you get in a ledge where you can't make it up it, you have to come backwards. And the great thing about crawl control is because the vehicle is controlling each wheel individually and the slip of each wheel individually, it allows you to basically focus on steering. And you know that you're not getting out of control, you're not building speed because it doesn't allow the speed to change.
So this is showing off the suspension of this truck. And of course, this is an off-road course set up by the Texas auto riders.
Yep.
And I put emphasis on riders. So, you know, for video, it's good because it shows what the suspension travel can do, but in no way is it stressing out the truck, I think. I mean, this is just...
No, this is, and you're doing it in 2-wheel drive.
Right, it's just...
So this is just really testing your suspension travel and wheel lift, and wheel lift is the important part. So to keep power to the ground, you want all 4 wheels to be on the ground. And we have limited slip in the front and the rear. You're using just the rear limited slip right now. That gives us a little bit of advantage. Even if you get wheel lift, you don't have to do, if you high center the truck, you don't have to do what we call the Bubba jump, where somebody gets on the rear bumper and jumps on it. But it's really just looking at the suspension travel itself. And like I said, we've increased the suspension travel. And we also have our triple tech frame that gives you a little more compliance than maybe some of the other trucks in the market.
Not only did Toyota partner with Fox Shocks for better off-road suspension, but they also partnered with Rigid Industries. Now Toyota, because of legal reasons, can't put on those huge LEDs that you all love, but these actually are very powerful for how small they are. They shine a light 20 meters in front of the truck, which is pretty substantial. So tell me about the frame. What does that mean, triple tech?
Triple tech, what triple tech is doing is we run a full box up front,
yep.
We run a reinforced C in the middle,
right.
And we run an open C in the rear. And what that triple tech is doing itself, that 3 structure, is it allows us to run a matched 1 hertz offset from our torsional and our bending frequencies of our frame, and it gives us compliancy. So it allows the frame to flex with the terrain.
Yep.
And what that does is it allows you to keep wheels down on the ground.
So Mike, on our channel, you know, there's a lot of discussion about what's the best, most off-road worthy mid-size truck. And I think a lot of people would agree that, you know, we're sitting in it. But with one chink in the armor, right? And that is, a lot of people still wonder why you went with, well, why you didn't go with disc brakes, but you went with, you know, traditional
drum brakes
in the back, yeah.
So the reason you put disc brakes on the rear of a truck is really for brake cooling. So discs cool better than drums do. The advantage of drums is, one, when you have to service them, they're cheaper to service, they last longer, and they keep debris out of the shoes themselves or the pads if it was a disc brake. So you don't end up having the corrosion issues that you have, and you don't end up having the squeak issues you have with a disc brake. Now, the dirty little secret about the compact or mid-size segment is 70% of your mass is up front. 75% of your braking is done with the front brakes, which we have disc on.
Which is always the case, right?
And you have 25 in the rear. Right. So you're never heating those rear brakes up. Now the disc looks sexier on a truck, but we took durability and reliability over the sexiness. So our trucks are based on off-road capability. Off-road is getting into mud, getting into sand. All that stuff gets into your rotors, it gets into your calipers, and it causes noise issues or durability or wear issues. So having the drums on there, we're shielding those brakes from those debris. And since we don't build up enough heat to take full advantage of a disc brake, there's no need for a disc brake. Stopping distance between the two is based on swept area, how much braking area you have. We stop just as quick with our brakes as you do with a disc brake. So most people think, oh, I can stop quicker with a disc. Well, that has nothing to do.
So it's not cost cutting.
It's not cost cutting.
It's
really coming down to what performance we're looking at and what features we're looking at. Now, from a cost cutting standpoint, if we talk about cost of ownership, this is definitely cheaper for the customer than the disc brake option. You're servicing them less, and to repair them when you have to replace the shoes is cheaper than a disc brake. But I did put a scoop in there, so it looks halfway real.
So why don't you make it functional? Why don't you put a hole in there? Can't be that hard.
It's a funny reason why.
Yeah.
So we keep our, what we call in COPA, our motor compartment, we keep our temperatures about 25 degrees C cooler than our competition.
Okay.
And that's based on our global standard. So we build more trucks than anybody else, and a lot of people don't know that. But we sell trucks all over the world, right? So because I sell in a lot of high temperature regions, I need to keep cooling at a certain level.
So that would actually make it hotter if you brought in hot
What
air?
it does is it creates turbulence inside the engine compartment. And the goal is to get all air sucked through the radiator, through the engine and out the sides, and keep that laminar flow going. And when you introduce different areas, and it's even like sealing this area up in here, those air leaks in there create turbulence. And that turbulence raises your engine compartment temperatures.
I've always wondered, why isn't there just a button that says, I'm stuck, give me all of it at once, right?
Oh, we have that button.
Okay, what is that button?
We call that crawl control.
All right, yeah. But you still have to lock the rear diff here?
No, crawl control, all you do is put in 4 low.
Okay.
Hit the crawl control button, set the speed you want, it'll drive out.
All right, let's try it, let's do it.
All right.
So put it in 4 low?
Put it in neutral.
Okay, let's go to neutral.
Stick it in, you gotta go 4 high.
Okay.
Turn it to the right.
Yep,
Let it go into high.
Okay.
Okay, now shift it into low.
Okay.
It's in low.
Yep.
Hit the crawl control button.
Got it.
Let's set your speed. Let's go the fastest speed on 5.
Right.
Take your foot off the pedals and just steer.
Oh, give it a little bit of juice to get it going.
Okay, let go. Oh, there we go.
Now it's
We have to turn the crawl control on.
Yeah. So this is your I'm stuck, get me out of here button.
This is my I'm stuck. This is I need to climb something that I can't climb.
Yeah.
This allows the vehicle to do things that aren't humanly possible because we're controlling wheel speed individually by itself. So this feature, if you get stuck up to the axles and stand, and we've given demonstrations of this, it'll dig itself out. What I like to use it for, and I do a lot of off-roading, but what I like to use it for is I actually like to put it on a rock face, coming down a rock face, so what we call a stair step.
Yep.
And when you're coming down it, it will control each wheel speed. Now if you just hit the button, it'll turn it off.
I should go slower. I'm just slowing it down.
And what it's going to do is on that rock face, because it's controlling wheel slippage at each wheel individually, when you drop down that ledge, if the surface has a little lower mu on it, you're not sliding down to the next one.
So what are the sensors doing? Tell me how it's working right now.
It's using throttle control and it's using ABS. So as it senses wheel slippage on one wheel, it's in of course our limited slip on front and rear differentials. What it's doing is it's taking the brakes, it's using those brakes to help slow down one wheel and then redirecting the power to the other wheel. And it's doing that on all 4 corners. So
basically it's controlling each wheel independently, which I can't do with the throttle or the brake.
That's correct. And then it's controlling throttle as well. So it's tipping in and it's letting up on the throttle based on how much it's necessary to keep a constant speed.
So what happens if you get in a situation where, let's say I were to try to go up this hill, and obviously the weight of the truck or the amount of grip would be doable. What will the crawl control do at that point?
It's going to keep trying to go up the hill.
It'll just keep spinning all 4 wheels?
It'll spin all 4 wheels, but independently.
Okay.
And what it's looking for is what is the best line to take to get up that hill based on where the wheel slippage is. Now again, you're steering it, but as it senses one wheel can't grip, it's trying to redirect that power to the other 3 wheels to ensure that you can make it up it.
Will it ever shut down? It'll just, say, hey, this is not doable. Is there like a fail-safe built into it like that?
If you overheat the transfer case, it could
turn itself off.
Turn itself off, but it's going to hold you there. It's just going to quit trying to agitate the wheels.
Are there reservoirs or no reservoirs?
Yes, the rear we have a rear remote reservoir, and we have coilovers in the front.
Okay.
And the shocks, the shocks, like I said, have the positioning sensitive dampening in it. But we also increased the piston. We went from a 36 millimeter piston to a 47 millimeter piston. We increased the rod from a 10 millimeter rod to a 22 millimeter rod. And then we changed the base valve in the bottom of that to stop any cavitation. So between the aluminum housing on the shock and the base valve, basically we never overheat the shock, so you never have shock fake.
That's great. So this course was provided by the local journalist association here down in Texas, and let's be honest, I did most of it in 2-wheel drive. I did not stress out this TRD Pro at all, except for trying out the crawl control. So we'll have to wait till we get it to Colorado and run it up either Gold Mine Hill or better yet the Cliffhanger to really find out just how off-road worthy this is. As always, this is Roman reporting for the Fast Lane Truck. Click up there for another great truck video and click down there to subscribe. See you guys next time. Ciao.